It's close to the city, tree-lined streets. It's just the most perfect environment to bring up my two girls.
I love living in North Sydney because of the public transport.
We have amazing facilities.
I like living in North Sydney because I'm close to my family, close to my son, my grandchildren.
I love it here. I love the place I live.
I currently rent in North Sydney.
I moved in with my grandparents and I continue to live with them because I haven't quite cracked the rental market yet.
I own a house and I feel I'm very lucky.
I live in a house and my mother-in-law lives with us.
Currently living with family, part of that is just due to the unaffordability of things. It's like, I want to be able to afford a place to live, not quite able to. So yeah, living with family, saving up money, so hopefully that I can move out.
So today's forum is a little bit of an experiment. We've got an incredible group of people who have been randomly selected and are absolutely representative of our electorate in terms of their demographics.
I just got the pamphlet in my post box.
I got invited to come by a lottery and I'm very, very grateful to come here.
I saw the forum mentioned in the local newspaper and decided I wanted to come and have my voice heard.
The reason we've brought them all together is because we want them to have time and space to talk about the housing affordability issue. Just thank you so much for being here this morning. I'm so excited because if this works, this is how we will do politics in North Sydney.
My concern with the housing crisis is how difficult it is to get into.
There's clearly an affordability issue. It is becoming untenable for a great majority of people.
Housing is just becoming more and more unaffordable. It was one of those issues that's been constantly ignored for decades.
How are my children going to be able to afford to live in North Sydney when they leave home?
Everybody wants to make the contribution to solve this kind of housing shortage.
Gentle density, walk up a path.
They will have access to information that others may not see, to have access to experts so that they can sit down and actually dig into this issue, with the idea being that by the end of the day, they will be able to come to me with a consensus on what they think they want me to be fighting for when it comes to Canberra.
It's one thing to say there's a problem, it's another thing to actually try and change the problem. I'm hoping that this forum and getting the experts in the room and talking about different proposals and putting them in front of politicians and people who can make those changes will actually pay attention.
Hopefully we can come up with some ideas for Kylea to take to Canberra.
It's something that's perfectly feasible.
My pitch at today's event was to make private landlord tax concessions conditional on renting out your home to someone who is in housing need at a below market price.
We believe that the federal government should only fund public transport projects on the condition that the area around new public train stations should be upzoned to allow high density residential development and mixed use development, and the catchment would be around 800 metres.
Mandatory inclusionary zoning would require developments in areas where land is expensive to carry a proportion of social and affordable housing. We're saying between 5 and 10%, depending on the land value.
Maybe we did come up with all the same ideas.
So this group is in violent agreement? Yeah. Oh my gosh, okay.
There's been an outbreak of cooperation.
What did you notice about that little exercise we just did? It is, isn't it? There's definitely something about zoning going on here, okay? There was the mandatory inclusion of zoning in some of the other proposals. Maybe we can refine our ideas even further to gather even more support.
It's pretty amazing to think that you can put a group of 30 people into a room and by the end of the 7 hours together, they kind of unpack something as complicated as the housing affordability and availability crisis. So the key idea today was really that The federal funding that's made available for infrastructure should ultimately be tied to getting two significant reforms from the state governments when it comes to how housing is built. And those two reforms are around the density of housing, around major public transport routes, and then the provision of affordable, social and essential worker housing within that housing stock. I want to say wow. I just want to pay tribute to all of you to come with such a clear and concise opportunity for our electorate to actually make a difference at that federal level. Here's to doing politics differently and trying to shift the dial in our country. So thank you. Well done.
I really appreciate her giving people the opportunity to have their say. So I think it's a great initiative, what we're a part of today.
I really enjoyed being able to group together with different people, coming up with different ideas with different groups.
If you make this kind of forum and as often as possible, a lot of people will participate in, will come to join in.
It was certainly encouraging to participate with our local member and literally being able to have some sort of influence as to our future and the future of our children.
I absolutely think this is a new way of doing politics differently. Kylea is listening to us and we are coming up with ideas that can go back to Canberra.